Wednesday when she said she was oppressed.
Because you're the ones, trying to entice people to do. I don't know, bro. And I don't like that. I'm coming straight to the
Okay,
source.
I agree. I'm not the source. She's oppressed, bro.
What? Yeah, wait. I was minding my own little business. This is what happened, right? I was minding my own little business on the panel. Just right? All of a sudden I see a naked body right there. I'm like, whose body is this? And then it was Prince. I was like, oh, okay, not bad, not bad. See, how was I able to lower my gaze when I was staring at my phone?
That's crazy. She had her gaze lowered at her phone and then had to lower it even more. Come on, bro.
My bad, my bad. Okay, I totally forgot by ooh,
What?
What you just
hold on,
said?
I'm making my mind up if I wanna go home or if I wanna go to the Arab Stadium or bro, do you know, oh my god. Oh, yeah, keep looking at me.
Nah, you don't belong in the Arab spaces anymore, bro. Enough of that shit.
Just amazing when Arabs recognize each other across the street. Habibi.
You know him or you just know he's an Arab?
Minute.
That's like Latino. That's like Latinos, and then we just start dancing and salsa.
Oh,
Compa.
Saudi girls are walking around the city center with the
Wait, so Puerto
Yeah, it's
Ricans have a
national
certain
study.
version of salsa, and then you
I
have what
know.
the Mexicans have a different version.
I don't
It's
know
all
what the
salsa.
Mexicans dance. And it's no, we don't have no. Oh, salsas and dances. But Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, we don't eat like tacos and stuff like that.
Oh no, I know that. I'm saying like I was talking about the salsa dance.
You ever been to the Puerto Rican Day Parade? That shit is lit.
Yeah.
The other day, I went there. I was there for it last year, I think in June, and they had the dude with the Spider-Man outfit, and he was just
Oh yeah.
busting moves. That shit was hilarious.
Wait, you didn't know who was the Grand Marshal? It was what's his name? Priest from WWE.
Oh no way!
Yeah, you know he's
No.
Puerto Rican, right?
When I went into the parade, by the way,
Talking about him,
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican. He grew up in the Bronx.
right?
Bronx,
I
dude.
grew up in the Bronx, man.
Shit.
Yeah, he grew up in the Bronx. And I bet you don't even know that he's literally in his 40s. He looks pretty young though.
Yeah, he is.
That's a fat joke. All the Puerto Ricans. Shout out to the Bronx. Shout out, you know where it was? Wednesday, it was right by the Catholic church in downtown, or in New York City. You know what I'm
St.
talking
Patrick
about?
Cathedral?
Yeah,
Yeah, St. Patrick Cathedral.
That's what I'm
Oh,
contemplating
wow.
getting into it. There's actually two by the Israeli, I don't know, their consulate or some bullshit they have there.
Did you spit on it?
I flipped it off and I posted it online. To the ADL headquarters.
Yeah, just go ahead and do that. Hold on really quick. Let me go ahead and fund you.
Big on
See you at.
what you talking about?
Kilo Hamza. Niye konuşuyorsun? Çizgi.
Kippur War or going into Lebanon. Maybe it was the Yom Kippur. Something tears, Valley of Tears. You see that?
Yeah, but I'm trying to translate it back to Hebrew. It sounds
Kippur
weird.
would be. Hold on, let me find it. It was very good.
Who did it? Khan? You know, Khan?
Here, it's in the Becca Valley.
Yeah, Baka, Emeka Baka. That's what I said.
Yeah.
It's not tears. Baka is like crying if you would.
In English, it's okay. So in English, it's Valley of Tears.
Yeah, I get it. This is why I said I need to kind of translate it back and kind of be imaginative to kind of, and then I was like, Emeka Baka, Emeka Bechi. Maybe this is what you mean. Emeka of Teal. Okay, got it.
Did you,
I was trying to see who was in that.
It's in Ramat Golan.
Toda.
תודה רבה.
so, please,
בבקשה.
מה שלומך? How are you?
מה שלומך?
מה שלומך?
Do you know my favorite word?
מה שלומך? What?
My favorite word for the ladies is matok.
Matok is for guys, but
Don't lie.
The drink.
matok is basically sweet, but it's in a
Masculine. Masculine.
but it's masculine, yes, metuka.
I'll say it feminine though.
Metuka.
Can I teach you a great word?
Matuka.
What is a great word?
Say again. I thought you were trying to troll me, trying to say.
No, I'm going to teach you a good word. This is a word.
No, it wasn't. I was trolling him that I said that matok is for guys and metuka is for girls.
So,
I mean, I thought you meant I should say it to the guys.
no, I'm going to tell you what to say to a girl. I'm going to tell you what to say to a girl.
Yeah, I said I understood you.
Yeah.
No,
I say brother, that yeah, because I know about grammar and how to learn languages, that's how I realized to talk about the feminine masculine.
okay, so to a girl, you want to call her a haticha.
Well, you know, I mean, I had a few Levensteins in my lifestyle, in my life, you know?
Say hatiha.
Can you say
And for the
That
man,
was the only thing that was
if
sort
you're
of like
gay,
interesting,
and
and
you
then
say-
everything else was just like pointing out sort of how a couple hundred years ago Luke's ideas were not weird, but now they are, sort of thing. Like, I'm pretty sure that if you go back 200 years, Luke's opinions on a lot of things would have been like, you know, not really all that weird. But just pretty much pointing out a bunch of things that are kind of bizarre to have in 21st century.
what you got to say on y'all saying how you say
Well, I'm interested actually to see if you agree with Luke on some of these things. Rosa Parks not sitting at the back of the bus and obeying authority was a sin.
Rosa Parks not sitting at the back of the bus. Was it a sin? I guess I have a very different opinion on that. That it was a sin. I think it was a sin for very different reasons.
So Luke's rationale was disobeying the state is a sin, even to things that are morally questionable or easy for people to parse in the 21st century, where this is like, oh,
Wait, why does he think it was a sin? Because it was a woman disobeying?
Alright, please
it has nothing to do with that. Just the fact that you're disobeying the state's laws.
Let me guess. Luke thinks that the Protestant movement was a sin too.
Essentially, the second half of the article that he wrote is just a bunch of random examples that are not really consistent with how most people feel nowadays.
Romans 13 is the widely used and cited chapter in obeying the government, but most people don't understand it. It describes a role of a just and good government. And we that, but when the government goes against God's commandments and laws, we're supposed to stick to the God's commandments and laws.
So Andrew, if you read the article, and this is how I interpret it, all laws created are just because moral authority is from the church and the state is to implement those, and therefore somehow by,
That's a fallacy.
I'm not saying, hold on, don't debate me. I'm not having any of these opinions, but I think this was sort of the gist of it.
I'm not against you, I'm just dismantling the article on the phone.
Okay, but I also, I mean, if you want to look at it, I might be conveying it incorrectly. If you want to take a look, but it might not be worth your time.
Hey Tidwell, I'm getting ready for you.
You're warming up on chess. You're doing good.
Yes, sir.
Well, we have a test coming back.
Got me a 94.8% accuracy. How do you like that?
That's pretty good, depending on how many moves you did. Was it more than 2 moves? When you do chess.com and you do the review and it says like, well, you played as if you had this rating. I love that stuff.
No, I like to analyze them in post. I had a 94.8 accuracy, and rating was a 2000. The reason for that
Andrew?
is just, yeah.
I'm Mike21 on chess.com. MIKETWENTY 1. If you want to send me a friend request, I'll play you.
Wait, say what?
Mike20 spelled out with a 1 on the end.
Got it.
I would have so much trouble with chess,
Me too.
intellectually.
You know what I've noticed? If I'm a little off on sleep, in fact, I use chess to determine how tired I am and my like what is the state of my brain to do something. That's what I use it for mostly. I use it to see how bad I lose, and that determines whether I do this task or that task.
Chess always seemed to me like a memorization game.
Mental peakness. Openings are middle game. I think there's a lot of recognition for middle.
You want to hear something funny, John said? There's a guy named Magnus Carlsen who plays in blitz tournaments, and he will purposely make the most crazy, stupid moves at the very beginning just to get people off memorization paths. And that's like one of his strategies is he'll just do like some batshit crazy like 2-year-old moves, or he'll just like move his king out, just like move it, like just do weird shit, and then
Cloud.
yeah, bomb cloud, he'll do all sorts of weird shit that like no one does, and then everyone's just thrown off their game because like everyone memorizes the first like 6 or 7 moves of like every opening, and then it's like this just totally throws them off.
Well, see, what I know about you, Tidwell, is that you memorize the most esoteric lines that people don't expect either. Then you get them that way.
I love getting someone. in like a really weird situation where I have like 50 moves memorized, and I just get the dopamine head. I lose no time on my clock. They're like thinking, and for some reason, it's just so satisfying.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm always bothered by it. Just like a memorization game, so I never bothered to do it.
But this is super specific. Like you have to think of it like this. Like you've heard like the combinations of like the factorial. Like in the first like 6 moves, there's like a cajillion possibilities. There's no way to memorize everything. It's just you can get into specific lines. What?
Like I know the math says that, but I just don't believe that that's actually like the reality. I know too many chess players who like it just seems like a memorization game to me. That's how I've always felt.
It is for the opening. What Andrew said is correct. It is for the opening for a lot of people, but after that opening, there is no memorization.
Yeah, and then you gotta see the few moves ahead and the patterns, and you have to be good at recognizing other things.
And that's why people that want to get into chess now, you wouldn't learn like a mainstream line. You'd learn like a style that isn't like a popular opening where no one's really memorized your opening, and then you're pretty much on par with people going into like the game. You wouldn't like if someone is trying to like get you to play a position, like you just wouldn't play it. You'd play something else, and then you throw them off memorization, and then you're sort of on square one. You might be at a slight disadvantage in theory, but you at least got the memorization path where you're playing this game of who can memorize the best move, 12, 13, 14 moves in. So like most people that are really good, they purposely make weird moves at the beginning just so they don't have to worry about the memorization piece of it.
Interesting.
Well, you ever dabble into, I forgot the name of the setup where it's randomized a little bit? The chessboard?
Okay, so Johnson, listen to what I'm about to talk to with Andrew about this. You'll like this. So this is called Fisher 720 or
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So check this out, Johnson. You start the game and it gives a random setup. So all the pawns are still in the front, but all the back rank pieces, there's 720 combinations of valid setup, and it's a brand new game with no theory, no books, no nothing on the setup, and this has become a popular format just to pretty much address the concern that you just brought up, Johnson, which was, oh, you're just gonna fucking beat me because you have 15 moves memorized. This pretty much gives 720 unique starting positions, and you don't know what the position is until the start of the game.
Understood. Do you know why my concern is met with that specific setup? Do you know?
Yeah, because these people are gonna fucking memorize, and you're gonna be at a huge disadvantage.
No, it's because Bobby Fischer himself agreed that the game was just a memorization game.
Oh yeah, no, 100% though. Like yeah, Fischer was trying to address that. Yeah, no, you're totally right. But also, that's only for the opening. Still, he was trying to get rid of the opening memorization, like piece of chess. Right, like chess is like classically broken up into 3 parts, and you can memorize some endgame positional stuff. And you can memorize some opening stuff.
Is Fischer 720 actually getting popularity?
So it's interesting because there's tournaments and stuff. But the most popular formats now are going to be blitz and bullet games where you have very low time on the clock and you don't have time to like think for like minutes and minutes and minutes per move. Those seem to be like the more like popular things that are going on right now. And the 720 tournaments are interesting because the thing I'm thinking is like, well, how does the committee pick the position? And they pick a position at random with a random generator. But what's funny is like no one's allowed to know the position because if you do, you could study the position before the game, right? Each round of the game you would know the position. So there's potential there where if you somehow sabotage the random generator or you knew what they're going to do, you could study the positions ahead of time. That's kind of like an interesting attack vector at these tournaments, which I don't know how that's been a problem.
We should do this and generate it with blockchain.
Hey, right.
Use
The
Bitcoin.
entropy for the last block, right? The last block's hash.
Well, no, it has to be the next block. You can't start a game until the next block.
That's funny. And then the next block happens, and then it tells you the position, and then you start the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it's like everyone's just waiting for the next block. It's like a 50-minute block. Everyone's just like intently just staring at each other, waiting.
Yo, Tidwell, do you ever play the games on legis.org?
Chess? LI?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lee Chess, yeah, that's another good one. But, hey, Andrew, you can send me a friend request on chess.com?
Oh, I'll do that a little bit later.
Oh,
He's
okay.
thinking about it, Michael. He doesn't like you, so.
No, I didn't realize he didn't like me until just now. I just fucking found out about it. I'm gonna leave this
Don't be
chat
so
room.
sensitive. Don't be so
You know
sensitive.
what? I'm leaving.
Hey, Tidwell. Dave the other day asked how many hours of playing would it take for him to get as good as you. I want to know your answer on how many hours that would take.
Probably a year of dedication, maybe like 8 months, 6 months, if you really.
How many hours a day?
How many hours?
It'd be like a full-time job maybe for like 6 months.
8 hours a day, 6 months.
What if he joins one of those like children's chess
40
clubs?
hours. Maybe like 20 hours a week for 6 months. 20 hours a week for 6 months, you could get better than me. That's what it would take. 20 hours a week, 6 months. If you're coming from zero.
So roughly 500 hours.
120 hours, yeah.
Yeah, 520 hours of diligent, like trying to get better, not just like fucking around. Fucking around, it'd be like 10,000 plus hours. You'd have to like use those fucking hours
I
to
tried to tell him.
actually be getting good. Like, and it's really hard to like want to play chess and like push yourself. It's easy to like play chess and fuck around, which is pretty much what I do.
Well, that's why
So if
I've
you're
been going on VHS and doing like the next moves just over and over to try to work on that. I feel like that is better than just playing a game. I don't.
Yeah, I mean they're both good. I mean playing a game and doing those puzzles are gonna help, but it's really just like so the thing where it would be like 1,000 hours is if you study in-game positions, which I don't have memorized, and or I don't have like I don't know like the techniques that are like that could like just dominate. Like for instance, if you have like a bishop and a knight and a king versus a king, like knowing how to mate in the fastest pattern or even how to mate is like very complicated. It's like one of the most complicated mates that you can do if you just have a bishop and a knight versus just a king by himself. That's like a very complicated mate and a lot of people can't do it.
It's really easy to mate if you're good looking.
Yeah, that's true.
I've learned from John.
Yeah, it's easy to wait. Mate, white or black? John said. Which one?
You know what I learned from John? Any waitress that smiles at you totally wants to bang you.
Wonderful. AU connection. Or strong file he does designs for stuff.
John's at your hot mic and anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah. I really want to get better, Tidwell.
Well, if you really want to get better, you can hire a chess coach, and then that will fucking expedite your learning like crazy. But I mean, that's kind of weird now with all this like online training shit.
I don't want to
a chess club here town that you can go to. I mean, they'll probably meet like weekly or bi-weekly. They'll have like little hangouts and shit. Alright, I just Googled or chat GPT'd. If you do 450 hours, you're likely to get to at least 1,400. If you do 600 to 900 hours, you're likely to get to 1,600. 1,000 to 1,600 hours is 1,800. 3,000 hours, 2,000. 4,000 hours, 2,100. 7,000 hours, 2,200. 9,000 hours, 2,300. 12,000 hours, 2,400. And 18,000 hours, 2,500 usually cannot be achieved.
Yeah, but there's a component missing here. Like some people,
Stay motivated that whole time.
you're gonna pose like certain brains or how your brain's wired. Spending that number of hours ain't gonna get you to that rating.
Well, with enough motivational energy, my theory is you can rewire your brain just to do about anything within, I mean, there's limitations obviously, but I don't know if, I think the biggest thing is if you don't necessarily have the brain for it, then it just becomes harder, but you can still do it. It just isn't going to be easy to stay motivated for fucking 10,000 hours. Because staying motivated to constantly be getting better is a different sort of thing than just playing for 10,000 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean maybe, and you can certainly do things to help rewire the brain. That's true, because you get from injuries right and stuff, obviously. But I think I don't know if you lack strategy or like multiple orders thinking capacity or capability, there's no way you're gonna spend 700 or 800 and hit that rating. And maybe even if you double it, I seriously doubt that.
Depends on if you're making progress. Like if you're putting in hours and you're not making progress, then you're sort of, you kind of are understanding your logarithmic curve off of like your potential.
Yeah,
so I guess you'll find that out sort of like early. Like if you put in, let's say you sink in 1,000 hours and you're not making the progress that other people are making, that might be an indicator that your top is, gonna be a lower range.
You're right. Exactly. I think everyone tops out somewhere, and then it's marginal.
Right. But what's kind of weird is there hasn't been a woman that has risen to the ranks of the top tier chess players in the world. And you would have thought that there would have been at least a few anomalies where there's been a few women that have gotten all the way to the top, like in terms of like rankings and B-Day rankings and stuff. So there is something to be said about like genetics or brain composition or just who we are as humans and stuff with some of this crap, you know what I mean?
Well, Jim Seth is missing for this analysis.
Yeah, unless you're watching Netflix, Kimberly and the Queen's Gambit. In that case, women are fucking dominant. By the way, I really like that Netflix show.
How many times have you watched it?
Once.
How many?
Just once.
Have you analyzed the games in the series?
I do know that some of the positions are real because they were trying to make it like fun, so they actually use like real positions from real games that were like epic. So that was kind of cool that they did that. Now ChatGPT will tell me why a woman's never been ranked in the top like 100 or top 50 or whatever. Let's see. Oh, I might be wrong. 2735, 2000. Oh, look at this. Judith Holgar. 2735. That's really high. Strongest rated lady ever. So Judith Polgar, there's a message in the chat that says no woman has ever been in the top 10. According to this, she was number 8 at one point at her peak. So I was wrong. A woman has been in the top 10. Judith Polgar. Judith Polgar is a Hungarian chess grandmaster, strongest female ever of all time. There you go. Oh, also, you know what's funny? I think this is the same lady who beat Gary Kasparov in a game, and Gary Kasparov was like famous of saying that a woman would never be able to beat him or something, and maybe he like also alluded like at his prime he would never be able to be beaten by a woman, and then this lady many years later beats him, and it was like a lot of like feminists and a lot of like chess players were like laughing about this. I remember that happened a few years back. And also, like, Gary's, like, super out of his prime, so, yeah.
Who's that guy that plays people on YouTube that has the black mask on? You know what I'm talking about?
Kenobi? Or Adam Back, depending on...
I mean, he beat Gary. Is he good enough to beat Gary Kasparov right now?
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I don't know this black mask.
I put it in the chat, Tidwell. Ray Enigma.
Now, there is a woman, looks like a Chinese lady, who is ranked 143rd in the world. And she's currently the highest rated lady, apparently. Hua Yofan. So 143rd is where the current lady is. I don't think chess has this idea of transgender woman stuff that other sports have. By the way, which I think is kind of also interesting. I don't think there's ever been like a controversy or a drama over women's chess like there has been with other sports. At least it never hit my radar.
Did you hear me that I put the clip in the chat, Tidwell?
Okay, let me see. Dude, I can't even. Okay, I guess I can copy. I have to like paste this to like Telegram just to be able to click it.
That's retarded.
Bro, what the fuck is this, dude? This doesn't even look. This looks like an AI video, dude. This doesn't even look real.
No, it is. That's a real guy. You can watch the full video on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. What the
That's
fuck is
Gary Kasparov.
No, I know that, but what the fuck is this incognito guy? This doesn't even look like a real thing.
That's how I was pointing it out.
But
Ray Enigma is a Spanish chess player, and no one knows who he is. An anonymous content creator, 3 million follow TikTok, 2 million followers on YouTube, has played Magnus Carlsen, like all the big names, including Judith Polgar, the lady we were talking about just a second ago. Unknown identity, and then he wears this fucking checkered flag face covering. This is like the silliest fucking thing. I like, how did I not know about this guy?
he's got to be one of the known names that just does it, right? Can't be somebody unknown.
There's a lot of people that are really good. Like there's a lot of people that are like in the 2600 range that like could maybe be like incognito, but like when you get to like the 2700 plus, like you're pretty much like people like that's like a thing where like
I mean, if you're gonna play in a tournament, you're gonna be known.
right. What I'm saying is there's a lot of people around the 2600 range that like there'd be enough quote unquote Spanish players around that level to not dox yourself. What I'm trying to say is like if he was really good, he'd probably like
Well, how is that number derived?
like it's kind of like a credit score, and you just kind of make it up. So if you beat someone with a higher elo than you get higher number. If you lose to someone with a lower number than you lose even more. If you lose to someone with a much higher elo than you lose very little. It's just like it's just the ranking, the arbitrary ranking system. And each FIDE has their own database and calculation methods. And also, if you haven't played chess in a very long time, you go back into more of a provisional state where every game you play has a multiplier sort of idea to get you closer to maybe what you would actually be at. Yeah, I mean, it's arbitrary shit. It's just a way of like knowing where you're at compared to other people in terms of your overall strength of your playability. The chat. I don't know if this is supposed to be a joke or not, but it made me look up the highest rated Nigerian player.
What's their ELO?
The highest rated ELO according to ChatGPT is 2363, and that was in February 2016. But I wonder, that was 2016, so I wonder what that was 9 years ago. The current highest rated player is at 2331. Nigerian Adabalaram Akatoyi. If the highest rated player is a FM, that means they have no international or grandmasters, I assume is what that means. So I guess there's probably like a lot of countries that have like no IMs or GMs.
become a grandmaster?
You just have to have a really fucking high rating and like win some tournaments and shit. But
Yeah, but does it come from winning certain competitions or?
That's a good question. I think you have to. I think it's like I don't know. Let me look it up. But there's 195 countries in the world, and only 88 countries have at least one grandmaster. So a little less, a little more than a third of all the countries have at least one really good chess player, like in the top tier.
I think you gotta hit a certain rating. But first, to become a grandmaster, you gotta become a master. You gotta climb up that ladder.
You also have to reach a rating of at least 2,500 according to FIDE ratings. Earn 3 GM. You have to win 3. You have to perform well in at least 3 tournaments. So in your tournament play, you have to have a performance rating of 2,600 plus, and at least 9 games in the tournament. And so you have to have at least 3 tournaments where you've performed at a 2,600 plus rating. You have to actually have a rating of 2,500 or more. And once you're a GM permanently. You never lose that title. You're like it's like tenure. Like you're once a GM, always a GM, even if you like suck or have like a brain injury. So does that answer your question?
How many? There's only a handful of them, right?
He's in here.
How many thousand GMs are there? I think it's 3 to 5, right?
How many like FIDE GMs are there? There's 1,700
Oh wow.
and 72, and 41 are women. So out of 1,772, 41 of those are women. There's also 41 women who are GMs. So there's in total 1,813 total GMs currently.
That's less than billionaires in the world. That's a club.
And you have to also remember, you don't lose that title. That means like, I wonder if that means currently alive people or not. Like I want to. Andrew, it sounds like you're eating a bag of chips. That 1,800 number is not living GMs. That's total GMs ever of all time.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so that's also the people that are dead, which is real interesting. So that means of all time, there's ever only been 41 women that have been GMs and only 1,772 men that have been GMs. So,
Well, in fairness, in prior times, the game hasn't been studied or that much. And also,
Who's
they do
voted
get
as his score?
to be GMs by these criteria didn't exist before. So some never got it because they couldn't.
What's voted?
Regardless, this is a remarkably low number.
So some sources say that there's up to 2,113 GMs of all time. But anyways, of active, alive people, or active, because I think they only consider someone active or inactive. There's around 700 current active GMs that meet the criteria of the 2,500 plus performance in at least 3 tournaments kind of criteria. So of the total number of GMs that have ever existed, about a third of them are still active, but they don't go into whether or not they're inactive because of they're dead or not, which is kind of have to read between the lines on some of that. Going back to what you're saying, Andrew, I mean, there's probably a damn good chance that only about 10% or less of us, even if we wanted to put in all the hours, would even be able to reach, you know, those really high levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I remember from high school days is if you were there at 2000 level, you were a unicorn. I never met.
You're still a unicorn at 2000 at pretty much any normal chess event.
Yeah. I just never remember seeing people study all 4 years and advance to that level. And that this is a young brain, can absorb, learn, and everything, right? I just don't remember people migrating into 2000s in high school. They were kind of already there, more or less.
Cool, which I like, is so one thing I kind of like is for a grantor, a GM, women and men have to compete by the same rule base for GM. So there's no hey, handicap, you have to have a lower rating or whatever, but they do have something called a WGM, which does have a lower rating, but a woman can get a GM title as well. So they I think this is probably a fair way of doing it, where it's if you want an actual, they don't just call it a GM, they call it a WGM, they make it specific. So they make it where GM is gender neutral, and then if you have the lower ranking requirements, they call it a WGM. But then there's women that get the actual GM status, which they differentiate on, which I think that's probably the right way of doing it.
Yeah,
Andrew, you could probably get it.
2092.
Andrew, you could probably get a WGM of 2300 if you put in enough work. But you would fail to meet one criteria to get a GM.
I love your enthusiasm, ability, but I don't look good in a dress or a skirt.
Right. Yeah, that might be the one criteria you miss. That's probably the only blocker for you, right? To get into 2300 GM.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys talking about becoming trans chess players?
That's what he's telling me to do.
Although I was making the observation that chess never hit my radar that chess dealt with any sort of trans drama like other sports.
But there are different rankings for men and women.
So if you want a GM, it's race neutral. You don't ever there isn't specific criteria for a GM. And I think that really helps because there's also women that have reached the GM status. There's not many, there's some, right? And I think that really helps with this sort of thing. And there's also a WGM, but they never call that a GM. That's always a WGM, like a women's grandmaster. But the women that are actually good still get the actual top ranked GM stuff. So
how many female GMs are there?
Oh, I'm glad you ask. I have this all queued up for you. Ready?
Yeah, heavy.
So one thing that's interesting is GMs are measured like it's lifetime. It's not like how many are currently alive. It's like ever and active. So there's ever only been roughly 2,000 GMs ever in like all of history, and of that, 41 have been women.
That sounds about right.
And of those women, one reached the top 10. She was number 8 in the world, Judith Polgar, Hungarian. And the next rated highest lady ever got to position 143, just to give you sort of a distribution. So Judith was an extreme outlier. So not only was she a woman that got to the top 10, but like the next lady up, like wasn't even in the conversation. You know what I mean?
What is it about the female brain that makes it less good at chess?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Because women treat their pawns like children, and it's less likely that you're going to want to sacrifice your children on the chessboard. Now, men, on the other hand, are more brutal, and they're willing to sacrifice their children for the greater good.
Is that true?
No.
It sounds good though.
I think it's funny, or I was trying to be funny on the fly. I'm not as good as Junsa than you, but I'm getting there.
There's not. So I mean, I would imagine there's not as many women that are interested in chess to begin with, but certainly many women do play chess. Like, I mean, I don't know. When you go to a chess tournament, how many women are at it? Like, what's the percentage that are women?
The younger you are, the higher the distribution of like it being super mixed.
And then it gets weeded out as you get older.
It's kind of like kids with gymnastics. Everyone like under 5 or 4 years old, like it's just pretty much 50-50, right? And then as the kids get older, it's like, where'd all the boys go, you know?
You know, I've tried like occasionally to get into chess, and it just never has been interesting to me. I'm just not interested in it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
You might be a woman. It's fine.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. I think it's because I wasn't. Nobody in my family played chess, so I wasn't exposed to chess at a young age. I didn't play chess until I was like 25.
Right.
My
2-year-old is playing chess with me right now.
Right.
Obviously, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's like moving the pieces around and like trying to play chess, like
just learning the patterns of the pieces.
Right. Like I was playing chess at 3 years old. Right. Similarly, like just understanding like how the pieces move early is gonna like help you, even if you don't have like the brain composition to ever like be like top tier. It's gonna like put you way ahead of other people who like never like really looked at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. It's not interesting to me, but I do appreciate people who are like when I said the chess tournament and you blundered and then went on tilt. That was very interesting to watch. You know, like I was like curious to watch it, but I don't know. Like playing chess is boring to me. But yeah, it's like.
Was that the tournament where I like totally fucked and won on time?
It was a Bit Block Boom tournament, and you made a mental mistake against Rockstar, I think, and then you went on tilt and you kept making mistakes because of your one mistake. You like couldn't forgive yourself for your one mistake.
Oh, is this the one where Rockstar beat me?
Yeah, Rockstar ended up winning the tournament, I think.
So we did another. So the next.
You beat yourself, really. I watched it, and you beat yourself in that moment.
So the next year, Rockstar comes to Capcom, and we played like 6 games. Rockstar and I played 6 games with an audience, and I go 6-0 against them. And then the following, I go to Bit Block Boom. This is me like now. I'm like, oh fuck, I like got mad, you know, that I like lost the way I did. Go on to win 2 Bit Block Boom chess tournaments, and then I'm retired.
I to me,
I know.
you are a loser. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Yeah.
I know. I'm still kicking myself because of it.
No, you really were. Yeah, you made like that mistake, and then you just like couldn't recover, and I could just tell that you had the yips. You know, like you just like were in your head, and that happens. You know, but like
it didn't help that I think when I made that mistake, the position was sort of simple, and there wasn't really enough entropy. I feel like maybe to recover because I still kind of remember that game. Very traumatic for me, by the way.
What is your ELO ranking or whatever?
It's pretty low. On chess.com, it is pretty low.
Do we lose Michael, or is it me?
I mean, I'm still here.
Didn't hear you for a second.
Let me see. My stats are not impressive. My highest ranking is about 1600, which according to ChatGPT,
pretty good.
According to ChatGPT, if you spend 600 hours actually trying to get good at chess, you should be able to reach the level of 1600. If you spend 600 hours trying to get good at chess and like having like a study plan and wait, hold on, intense study, regular coaching, and serious play, and 600 hours, you too can be this good.
Okay, so I just need to put in 10 hours a day for 2 months, and then I'll be as good as you are.
If that's, yeah, I mean, get a coach, regular coaching, serious play, intense study. Yes.
I'm gonna do that, and then just show up at BitBlock Boom or Tapcop and just destroy you. Yeah.
That'd be so funny. It's like so unexpected. It's like, Hollow, what are you doing here?
Hey, I just got good at chess, bro. What's up? I'm always good at chess.
Like, how did you make it to the final round? Like, what happened?
I like strategy and stuff, but I just, I don't know. Chess just ain't my thing, dog. Did you ever meet Ella? She was the captain of the Harvard chess team. She's a Bitcoiner. She used to be on this app, but she hasn't been on the app for a while.
Dude, if she was on a college chess team, she's probably way better than me.
Captain of the Harvard team.
I know, she's probably... I'm guessing she was like from the 2000s.
I think she had a 2000 something. I can't remember what it was, but it was a 2000 something. And she was, there was a time in here, Michael, when she played like 6 people like at once and defeated everybody like in 5 minutes. You know, it was like, and all 6 people were like pretty decent chess players.
It's so crazy, like how...
Very smart. She went to work for a hedge fund.
If someone's rated like 2000 and someone's rated like 2100, the difference there is so immense. Like it's so kind of like
what is like a Magnus Carlsen? What's his rating?
Like 28 something, 2900 something.
So it's like really up there. Is anyone at 3000?
Well, I mean Magnus at one point was 3000, but these ratings when there's only like a few people over 2800, these ratings don't really mean a whole lot. It's just really relative to like, because if you're at, let's say you're at 2900 and the next rated person is 2700, who are you going to play to up your rating? You know what I mean? You can only lose. You need to like have other people get good so you can like boost yourself up. So it's like kind of inflation resistant, if that makes sense. So
it seems like Magnus is on the downslope in his career. Is that right?
Like I said, like these numbers get inflated and deflated naturally as...
I mean, not about his number, but more like he was so dominant, nobody could beat him, and now people are starting to beat him.
No, he's super dominant still.
Didn't the Indian guy beat him?
Yeah, but I mean, when you play a fucking 100 games, you're gonna lose a few here and there, and those are gonna make big news.
Yeah.
Like he's still super dominant.
Is he the best chess player that ever lived?
Well, this is a good question because he lived in the age of computer engine learning, and Bobby Fischer didn't, right? So it's...
What about like Gary Kasparov too?
Well, I mean, Bobby Fischer is arguably better than Gary, but
better than Kasparov.
Right. I mean, arguably speaking, Bobby Fischer was the best player ever without computers, and Magnus Carlsen was the best best player period. Granted, tool set and stuff has evolved, right? Like if you were able to have an engine immediately tell you what the best move is, and then you can understand why, that's a different thing than not actually knowing and then assuming things and then realizing 10 years later, oh, this was bad, versus the engine telling you that in like 1 second,
Yeah, totally. Bobby Fischer kind of went crazy too at some point, didn't he?
He kind of became, I think he started running Bitcoin knots. He became like anti-Semitic. He
moved to Iceland and started ranting about the Jews and stuff.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time.
The quality of his play went down like significantly.
Yeah. Like he went Kanye before it was cool.
He was the best American chess player ever, right? Like there's never been a better American.
No. There's this guy named Hakuro, that is American, who is considered to be the best of all time, pretty much.
Oh, really? He's better than Fickler.
He's been like a top 3 player for like a decade. He's like a Asian American. If you're talking about real American,
I actually enjoy watching the Battle of the Minds. That is a chess match, like a high-level chess match. It's actually kind of interesting as a spectator sport, But like,
it's as fun as watching paint dry.
I think it's interesting. If there's good commentary over top of it, where the announcers are explaining what's happening, then it's very interesting, Because I don't know chess, so like I need it explained to me, like, oh, he went with the English opening, and that was a mistake, whatever. I need all that shit. I can't believe he would have done a pawn sacrifice here. I don't know any chess terms.
Dude, the thing about Hakuro is he's like a Twitch streamer, and he's like a personality. So like he makes more money from his Twitch stream than he does from like tournaments now. Like that's how big, like, that's like the meta right now. If you're a chess player, you become an entertainment chess player.
Kind of like the video game guys, similar kind of thing.
Michael, who's the best Bitcoiner chess player? Was it Jimmy Song?
I beat his ass. He is good, but they're. Yeah, I beat him.
Michael's very good, except for the one time I was watching.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, that tournament I was in should have been mine, but it wasn't because Huddle was watching me, and I get very Huddle watches me.
I'm disappointed because I watched you too, and I've never seen you fumble it.
Huddle will be a lead investor in whatever company I end up starting.
That's right.
So I get really nervous when he's around me. But Hikiro Nakamura is his name, and he's rated 28-16, number 2 in the world. Personality, he's like the most entertainment-based personality. Wait, what? I feel like someone asked me a question. Oh, Jimmy Song. Oh, the best chess player is a guy named Martin that I know of. He's a FM or IM international master. He was rated about 24 something. He decided to get into Bitcoin because it's like a chess player that came like 2,600 plus actually doesn't have a real career in chess, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. So he became a Bitcoin core developer, learned C++, and apparently being really good at chess translates to being able to code in C++ and be a Bitcoin dev. So that's what he does, and his name is Martin. And you know Muzz?
Yeah, is Muzz good?
No, well, yeah, I mean, it's Muzz. I like Muzz.
Zell is like a ranked player.
Oh, Zell is too?
Yeah. David
Zell, yeah.
David O. Zell, right? Whatever.
Just Zell. David Zell.
But gonna say is the Muzz ran a tournament at Tapcomp. Found out that so Martin just dominated me. I mean, dominate's the wrong word. He gently put me to sleep. He won pretty easily the entire tournament, and Muzz got upset that an international master entered the tournament without identifying himself. And I think this is kind of funny. I mean, people have like conversed with Muzz, right? Like Jarvis, like you know how like he sounds and like his personality and stuff.
He doesn't seem smart.
Oh, come on, let's be nice.
No, anyways, I know that's what you're saying. Like, I'm willing to believe.
No. His personality is just so like, look, man, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, like, this is not right. Like, it's just like, I don't think he's dumb or anything. It's just he comes off like in a sort of a like, kind of like takes life, kind of like.
No, I think we're saying the same thing.
Anyways, so
yeah,
this is the only chess
tournament. He comes off like a stoner, like bro.
Right, but like almost like it's like a defense mechanism, so he doesn't have to take life too serious, kind of thing. But I do think he's like kind of smart. Anyways,
he is smart, yeah. Obviously smart.
I actually like him. It's just he has this obvious like character. I feel like that he's playing that is now his actual personality. Like I don't know if that's true, but anywho, he just made me laugh. He's like, this isn't right, man. You know what? I'm gonna take the. He's not gonna win the money. No, he can't. No, we're not gonna do this. You cannot win the money. And this is the only time I ever like have seen any chess tournament where someone won and then they're like, no, you're too good. And he's like, well, I'll donate the money. And so he donated the proceeds.
How much money was it?
I don't know, like probably less than $1,000.
Yeah.
And in today's money, probably like way more than $1,000. But at the time, I don't know, like maybe like $300-400 max.
In Bitcoin terms, yeah.
In Bitcoin terms, like probably $2,000-3,000 now. But he donated the money to the communist, to the woke. What did Max Kaiser say? The woke, transgender,
sexual. I don't know. What is?
Yeah. Anyways, that's horrible. I want that on. I think.
Which trial?
Trump assassin.
Oh yeah, he tried to stab himself in the fucking neck with a pen.
Yeah.
Seems like a really stable. No, I saw that. Seems like a very stable individual. That was the guy who was hiding at the Palm Beach golf course, right? Yeah. Yeah, that guy fucking, what a whack job he is. Tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen.
In the middle of federal court. That's a dramatic moment.
Yeah, I saw did you see the illustration of it?
Sketch, yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. The illustration is one of the craziest things I've ever seen come out of federal court, because usually in federal court, the sketches are everyone's very dour, you know, and just kind of morose. And this is like a very lively scene, like the most lively scene I've ever seen, I think.
The sketch, like, why they have all of the walls of the courthouse, they have to frame that one.
It's a very exciting. The illustrator was probably like, oh my god, this is the best day of my career. Why do they do, Zach, do you know the etymology behind like why they do those illustrations?
They don't like cameras in.
No, but I know that, but why in that specific style?
Oh, and yeah. Like, good question. I don't know. I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Couldn't you take a photo and then turn it into an illustration? Like, couldn't you have something a little more detailed?
You're not allowed to have cameras at all. It must be that is like the quickest way to draw things in real time, would be my guess.
It must be, right? Yeah, it's like watercolor, and they're always like very quick, brief.
Yeah, I think it might be like crayons or colored pencils, but if you ever go to a federal court, you can see the guy like doing it.
Why is it so like? It seems like we should have more transparency to what happens in federal court. Like, what is the rationale for them keeping cameras out?
Yeah, I I'm not trying. I mean, the transcripts are public.
I know, but don't you think we, as the public, kind of deserve a higher level of transparency with federal court?
Well, it's also open to the public. You can go.
Yes, but it's open to like however many people can fit in the courthouse, and like.
I think the rationale is like federal judges in particular are really supposed to be immune from any kind of politics, and having it be like a national news spectacle in real time might undermine that. I think that's what it's about. But like the press goes, there's plenty of reporting. Ordinary people can go. Like I went to both the Samurai and Tornado Cash trials, and estate condos are open to the public. I didn't have any special access. I just walked in, and like I don't know, the states draw lines in different places. I think some states don't allow cameras, but the federal system they choose not to allow. The U.S. Supreme Court also doesn't allow cameras, but they do allow audio recording.
Right. I don't know. It just seems like we should demand a higher level of transparency from our government.
Is there something like that having video would be transparent about that a word-for-word transcript plus allowing the public access and reporters access doesn't give you? Like,
yeah, I think
crowded courtrooms, they do a spillover room where they have closed caption. They can watch everything on CCTV.
I think it's because video is more. Video is like you're there, you know? So it's like, it gives more access to more people to watch the trial in real time. And since we're all subjects of the federal government, I kind of feel like we should all have access to know what these trials are like.
Also, actually, in I think lots of, I don't know about trials, in lots of, like, federal hearings, you can dial in and listen in real time.
Interesting.
For you. Why do some trials get televised and some don't?
Well, federal trials don't. That's what we're talking about. But
Federal never does, and state trials it's really based on like interest, and then sometimes judges can bar cameras from the courtroom depending on like whatever, like lots of different factors. Like I think the OJ trial, they at one point barred the cameras from the courtroom, right? Like the cameras were in there, and then I think at one point the judge was like, "This is too much of a circus. It's disrupting my courtroom. Get the cameras out."
Yeah, if it gets in the way of a fair trial, the judge can always say.
Right.
So what you're trying to tell me is Judge Judy was not taking federal cases. Got it.
Judge Judy's an arbitrator, which is, I think, like this is my end goal is to be the Judge Judy of Bitcoin.
I consider myself the Judge Judy of Bitcoin, Zach Shapiro.
Zach, you know where your stage is. It's there for you when you want it.
Also, it's so easy to enforce. You just do a 2-3 multi-sig where the parties each have a
Right. It's like the easiest thing in the world. There you go. Here's your music, Zach. Dun, dun. Zach's on the bench. Knott's first score. CSAM.
It's also basically unregulated. You don't need any stuff. You don't need to be a lawyer. You don't need to have been a judge. Like, if you want to be an arbitrator and people are willing to bind themselves to your decision, you can just be an arbitrator.
Zach, are you familiar with the contiguous bytes argument?
No.
So the fact that CSAM, which is a new term I think for everyone,
Nope, unfortunately I heard that one.
Well, this was new for me at least, but CSAM having contiguous bytes versus in the witness is distinctly different, and the government and laws will come down, because it's contiguous bytes instead of being separated every, whatever amount of bytes. There's a small 1 byte separator. Have you heard this argument being made by Luke and others?
I haven't, but I would be very skeptical of legal arguments being made by engineers.
Well, this is currently the Steelman argument for not running core. It's part of the Steelman for not running core. Verified by Luke yesterday.
I would be willing to stake a lot of money on there is not a reasonable legal theory that gets you in trouble for child porn images if you write one.
Man, has anyone just told Mechanic this on Twitter? And
They get mad at Zach for saying.
Yes.
They get very mad at Zach for saying things like this. They accuse him of all sorts of things.
Okay. Well, this is, what's funny is 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I was thinking this was like sort of like a nothing burger, but because of the attention and time spent on it and the amount of
Literally a campaign to sow fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Like this is one of the most textbook cases of like actual fun I've ever seen in my life.
Right, but what I'm trying to say, sure. The point I'm trying to make in case it's not clear is I really do think that this is doing damage in terms of effort to combat and question and answer endless pits of concerned, upset bud. I personally know people that are spending a tremendous amount of time either stressed out about this or answering endless questionnaires from people.
Yeah, it's a huge waste of time. Well, we talked about this the other day and landed on a pretty decent analogy. It was like arranging books in the library that points to a URL. Was that the one? Anyway, running a node and not it's not the same thing as downloading a child porn.
It's very weird because the people that are, saying there's going to be a state attack seem to be like engaged in a state attack.
Right.
Like this seems kind of like a state attack.
And
Although
let's say there even was some risk of that. Like the people are going all the way to if you're a random employee of a company that does ordinals, you are responsible for everyone else downloading. Like it's so ridiculous. And
it's very autistic. Yeah. The CSAM thing is just an emotive argument, by the way, because they didn't. It's true because they didn't come to it until very recently. They've been on the same warpath for months.
Anytime.
I had the same opinion, Huddle. I had the same opinion. I called Luke out on it, and this is how the conversation started. And he said, "No, you're wrong." And then he linked to me how this was part of the original discussion, which missed my radar because it wasn't brought up. So I was very surprised that I only found out about this yesterday, that it was part of the original core concern that Luke had. And that was not very clear to me until yesterday. So I will say he is being consistent on this, but it wasn't brought to everyone's attention until Mechanic screamed CSAM and child, pornography or whatever.
Think about the rest of it, right? This is less true in Bitcoin, but let's say, in an account-based model like Ethereum, if you were to send someone an NFT that has embedded code in it from which you could reverse engineer like a child porn image, does that, if someone just sends you that NFT, you're a criminal, even though you have no control over it? Does that seem like the way the law works?
The answer to that is obvious. It's whatever Mechanic tells me to think, because that's how people are thinking right now.
Because Mechanic is a First Amendment lawyer?
Exactly. I really wish, so I assume, Zach, at one point you've engaged on this publicly on Twitter, or no? Have you sort of avoided it?
I engaged when I saw someone, I forget the guy's name, I think it's the guy who runs Bitcoin University, was saying
this
that
is
all the people...
Bitcoin University?
That guy. He was calling for all the people who work at Taproot Wizards to be thrown in prison. And I was like, this is actually an attack, I think.
Yeah, it's actually insane. I can't understand the motivation behind saying something like that. It seems very odd. But I don't think any of these people are. I don't think any of these people are actual state actors. I think they're all just autists.
Oh no, I don't think. Oh, by the way, we had the conversation I think a couple of weeks ago about. You asked me if I thought Nick Fuentes was controlled by or funded by Qatar, and I I said no, and I still think no as to Nick Fuentes. I am increasingly suspicious though about Tucker Carlson. I don't know if you saw his new like 9/11 truther stuff, but like he's like trying to exonerate Saudi and all these like and make it the first version. He's like blaming the CIA. Clearly, this is going to end up being an anti-Israel thing at the end, but like he really does seem like he's doing exactly what like
It's widely known that he got $15 million from a Qatari.
Okay,
Who
I
does,
didn't even know that, but
Yeah.
Who does Tucker, whose interest, I mean, other than maybe the Qataris or whatever, but like, whose interest does Tucker serve? You know, that's the question I keep asking when I think about Tucker, because I see him run these playbooks, like, on people where, you know, he'll go out and discredit somebody in a very high-level way. And maybe he's doing it on his own accord for his own purposes, but maybe it's on someone else's behalf, and I can't figure it out.
But a lot of it seems to line up with what foreign adversaries. Like there was a while where like he was just kind of echoing exactly the same stuff that Putin was saying, right? And just kind of being broadly anti-America. And like now it seems like it might just be that he is accepting foreign money, and it's not one, it's multiple of these groups.
I haven't been listening to him. I never really listened to his show or anything, you know, but I've seen clips and whatever. And he's just like a person on my screen. But I really kind of don't take him serious anymore, because I think he works for somebody, but I can't figure out who.
Well, apparently Qatar gave him $15 million. That, you know, it could just
Is that enough to buy him though? He's very rich.
It's enough to maybe buy a weird 9/11 truther documentary.
That's where it's
and to focus more on Israel.
Yeah. Well, by the way, the question I asked you about Fuentes was not about Fuentes having direct involvement with the Qataris, but the question was more specific as to, do you think that Fuentes hitting all of our social media screens is because of the Qataris?
No, I think it's because of the anti-woke Twitter algorithm. He's blown up on my Twitter feed. The algo all the time is pushing his videos.
He's the new Andrew Tate. He's taken over the algo.
It was like starting 6 weeks ago.
Yeah. Before Charlie Kirk died.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think it's like the rage bait, edgelord algorithm on X.
I'm seeing it on Instagram too. Heavy on Instagram. Not on YouTube though. YouTube still seems to have.
YouTube's has to unban everyone who's gotten banned for political speech, so Fuentes may be back.
Oh yeah.
Well, YouTube came out today apologizing for banning people with different political opinions and that they would reinstate it.
I don't trust it. Fuentes has been, you know, he took advantage of the Kirk thing when it happened, but after the fact, his audience seems to be turning on him because he's being intellectually honest and not blaming Israel, because it's very clear that, or there's no evidence to suggest Israel had any involvement, but his entire audience is like, they think Israel is responsible for everything, and so that's like losing him some followers at the moment.
It's the same thing as like in a different way. The Dennis border thing. Like people, like it's really like it's disappointing to see this again and again. People don't want truth. They want what they want to hear.
Yes. No matter what political side they're on.
Sure. Or even non-political things like the Dennis border.
Yeah. bias is confirmed.
That's the main product that social media sells, whether it's showing you people who agree with you in an echo bubble or showing you people who like are the enemy that you expect to see and bring you into rage bait. Like the main product of social media is the type of dopamine that comes from having your biases confirmed.
You know, it actually wasn't an accident either. It was designed that way. Not for malicious purposes, but because that's what people assumed would be a better model. So like,
well, they train the algorithm for DAUs and MAUs because that's how Wall Street values, or at least did value these companies.
But even before then, the broad theory about the new way we were going to engage with media was going to be specific algos and feeds tuned for our interest and likes, which makes sense because it's like, you know, when you used to read the newspaper, there was a lot of stuff in the newspaper that you didn't give a fuck about, and that's why people would just read certain sections of the newspaper. They wouldn't read the whole newspaper. And you were seen to be a very informed person if you read the whole newspaper cover to cover. But, you know, so they were like trying to like atomize it basically. But the atomization created a tribal quality that has been unmaking society. I don't know, not an easy problem to come back from. I think the Charlie Kirk thing, at first glance, I thought was good for Fuentes. Now I think it's actually bad for Fuentes. Because Charlie Kirk has become such a martyr, and Fuentes really was his mortal enemy.
Well, that's good news, I guess. Like,
yeah.
If people really, I do think that, like, you know, if we're being really honest about Charlie Kirk, a lot of what he was doing was a troll, and he did say things that he knew would offend people, whatever. Of course, you're allowed to do that, and on balance, his views are mainstream Republican. But, like, if the outcome is we're just gonna, like, focus on the good stuff that Charlie Kirk did, of which there was a lot, and whitewash it, and, like, the message is people should live by the idealized version of Charlie Kirk, that's a great outcome.
I think it is too, and I'm pleasantly surprised by it. You know, I mean, that was the thing I thought was very stupid about the left-wing response to like the memorial service that happened the other day, because they were like, "Oh, look at that! It's all sanctimonious, and it's Christian nationalism, and it's this and that," and it's like this is so preferable to the alternative, you know. This could have been the moment the right decided we're going to kill everybody. Like, it could have been that moment. And thank God it's not. I think Eric and Kirk getting up there.
It felt that way a little bit in the beginning.
Well, that's the difference between the right and left, is that, you know, the right can at any point decide they're going to kill everybody and then actually do it. The left cannot do it. Like, so it's very nice to see the side of America that has all the guns praying quietly and, you know, trying to come to grips with what happened rather than taking to the streets. Because the minute that side takes to the streets, it's the end of the country. But it could have gone a different way. Thank God it didn't.
Do we think this is the end of Dennis Porter? Like, I am surprised actually at the level of, like, I thought everyone knew that his chick was overhyping stuff, and, like, they were stupid for falling for it this time, but people are angry.
I need to read some of the tweets.
If you go to people are upset and just virtually flaming it. understand how people are just figuring this out now.
You know what it is? It's about the Bitcoin price. So people are really, this bull market has really sucked, and people are really starting to get annoyed by it, and they were looking for a reprieve, and they thought his announcement would pump the price, basically, and it didn't happen, and now they're furious with him.
Maybe it sticks. Maybe the arc of history does bend towards justice.
Unfortunately,
I doubt this. I mean, he's got what, 250,000 followers. Maybe he'll lose 20,000 of them or something from this, but I think he's still going to be around.
Yeah, but if it becomes like embarrassing to associate with him, that's a step in the right direction.
it's always been, but what happens with accounts like this on Twitter, people like Dennis, is they don't lose their followers, but they just become irrelevant. Like they just there's no engagement anymore. You know, it happened time and time again.
Like deep Rizzo.
People just stop giving a fuck, you know? And that's what'll happen to Dennis.
Well, Pete just straight up like outsourced his thing to make some money, and I assume he'll take it back over at some point, but it's certainly going to have devalued over that period. But I assume he did, make a decent chunk of change without having to do anything, right? Someone else is.
What's Pete doing? He just
It's basically Dennis Porter, but it's actual news, right? It's just like breaking all caps, but it's like news that actually did just come out.
I think Pete's doing that. Is he not doing that? He's not the one behind the keyboard?
I don't think so. There was a big uproar because he had some job posting for 10 grand a year for an hour a week of support to do it.
He's doing the Bitcoin Treasuries thing with NBK, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's doing a few different things.
Yeah. But yeah, I've seen this happen. People get famous or infamous or whatever for something, and then everybody just gets bored with it. That's how, with a whimper.
There are 180 public companies in the world now with Bitcoin on their balance sheet. That's according to BitcoinTreasuries.net. Strategy is the largest, the most prominent of these so-called Bitcoin strategies. Really sort of coins the concept. The company was one of a number of industry leaders in DC last week as well, pushing for a strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. So joining us now is Michael Saylor, Strategy's Executive Chairman. Michael, it's great to speak with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Morgan.
Okay, there's a lot to get to, but first I do want to start with the fact that there are reports that you were in Washington last week meeting with policymakers about this strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. How are you advising lawmakers right now, and why is the case there to create a strategic reserve?
Well, I think Bitcoin's good for the nation, and the country would benefit. We did buy something like 78% of the entire United States for about $40 million over the past 100 years or so. So I think the United States ought to own a large part of cyberspace, and Bitcoin is the next frontier.
What does it do to prices, especially if they've been chopping sideways, even coming off a little bit recently?
I think the real story in Bitcoin right now is corporate adoption. We've got a consistent acquisition of Bitcoin by the big ETFs like BlackRock, and that's taking up all the natural supply, and they're doing that on behalf of institutional investors. But these 180 companies that are capitalizing on Bitcoin are buying even more than the natural supply being created by the miners, and they're putting upward pressure on the price. And I think that as we work through the resistance of late and some macro headwinds, we'll actually see Bitcoin start to move up smartly again toward the end of the year.
At the beginning of this year, you and I in January sat down and had an hour-plus conversation at the ITR conference about this very idea, Bitcoin treasury, what you were doing as strategy, and where it made sense for others to potentially adopt a similar concept as well. What are the types of companies that you're seeing lean into this, and at what point do you think it starts to accelerate if it does?
Well, I think you've got two types of companies. You've got operating companies that would otherwise be returning their capital via dividends and buybacks, or they would just be holding low-yielding money markets. And they're choosing Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, so that actually improves their capital structure. It strengthens those companies. There's a lot of those. And then there's a second sort of company, the true treasury companies. They're capitalizing on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital gold. The world ran on gold-backed credit for 300 years. The world's going to run on digital gold-backed credit for the next 300 years. So treasury companies, in essence, are holding digital capital and creating digital credit instruments on top of that digital capital. And there's, of course, a huge demand for equity and credit instruments in traditional capital markets. And Bitcoin is emerging as the ideal form of digital capital to back those instruments.
Yeah, I want to dig into that a little deeper here, Michael. But first, I mean, gold's having a huge run right now too. It's at $3,800 an ounce. It's basically trading at record after record this year. But Bitcoin hasn't sort of moved lockstep. So how to think about that analogy in this environment?
JP Morgan said gold is money, everything else is credit. This morning I said Bitcoin is money, everything else is credit. The success of gold is indicative of the demand of mainstream investors to have a bearer instrument that's a long-term store of value, that's not a currency derivative and doesn't have counterparty risk to a corporation. Gold fits that bill. Bitcoin fits that bill even better, and it's sort of got the digital upside. You know, you can't teleport gold, and you can't program gold to vibrate at 1,000,000 times a second on a computer. So Bitcoin is the technology version of gold. It's digital gold. It's going to be, in my opinion, 10x bigger than gold, but they're the same idea.
How do you compare that to Ethereum, which investors seem to be very hot on, and we're starting to see Ether treasuries built out, holding companies built out as well, like Bitmine. And then you've got stablecoins as well, which seem to be surging. Just a few minutes ago, headlines said Tether is seeking between $15 billion and $20 billion in exchange for roughly 3% stake through a private placement, for example.
You know, Bitcoin has emerged as digital gold. There's consensus. What do you want to do with gold? You want to issue credit. You issue credit against the underlying capital asset. It's going to be the primary monetary crypto. Ethereum, Solana, the other tokens, they're emerging as sources of digital finance. Their use case is networks that circulates and tokenize stablecoins, tokenized currencies, tokenized securities, tokenized real-world assets, and implement DeFi. And so the future of those networks is going to be determined by technology, by regulation, by competition, and of course by the execution of those management teams.
How should investors think about navigating an investment in strategy specifically, which I know you've described as a levered bet on Bitcoin, versus the other BTC-backed fixed income instruments that you've launched in recent months?
Yeah, the credit instruments we're offering, like Stretch, are meant to compete with short-term money market funds or other sorts of fixed income instruments. So if you're a fixed income investor and you believe in Bitcoin and you're interested in something that has higher yield or perhaps longer duration, then you would look at one of our credit instruments. If, on the other hand, if you're a Bitcoin maximalist and you actually want more Bitcoin, then our equity is actually got credit amplification in it. So the equity is amplified Bitcoin. So people that want more volatility, more upside than Bitcoin will go for the equity. People that are interested in having the volatility and the risk stripped away will look at the credit.
Okay. How do you ensure you're not over your skis with any of these instruments if Bitcoin plunges again?
Well, we've got about 70 to 75 billion dollars of Bitcoin. We've only got about $6 billion of these preferred credit instruments outstanding, so it's not even 10%. And of course, the preferreds never come due, and so they're not really leverage. I could say that we've got a PhD in leverage at Strategy. We lived through the crypto winter, so we've constructed a balance sheet that could handle any conceivable drawdown and continue to perform.
So how do you respond to some of the critics out there? Jim Chanos a couple days ago saying that your tactics to boost returns are quote unquote financial gibberish.
As I would say, for 300 years, the entire Western world ran on gold-backed bonds. What we're doing is distilling yield, duration, and we're offering those in digital credit instruments. We're stripping away the volatility, we're stripping away the risk, and there's a huge number of people in the world that want some sort of digital credit instrument. The ones we're offering are higher yielding, they may be more liquid, and they may be longer duration than all the comparable credit instruments out there. The only way to create them is using digital capital, and Bitcoin is digital capital. I think the short sellers don't understand the use case of digital credit built on digital capital because they've never seen it before in the history of the capital markets.
Well, we appreciate you coming on to talk about it. Michael Saylor of Strategy, great to have you.
Thank you.
Man, does this motherfucker have anything new to say? Same boring shit I've heard a million times.
Asking him the same shit.
It's the same shit. He never has anything new. Bitcoin's an ethereal fountain in cyberspace where you can go and, I don't know, keep your money safe from calamity or whatever. Like, cool. We get it, bro.
That's the message, yeah. You gotta keep saying it.
It really is, like, I feel the same way. Like, Bitcoin never changes, so to say about it never changes either.
Andrew, do you know anything about the Tether pipe deal?
Ooh, what's Tether got going on?
Well, it was just mentioned and I looked it up, but apparently they're trying to raise like $3 billion at a $500 billion valuation.
What for? For Tether or for Bitcoin treasury stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I just know it seems like it's for Tether.
It's a good business, man.
Yeah, I don't understand why they would want to raise other than to just, it seems like they have more money than they know what to do with.
I know, right? Like, what is the point of the raise? Maybe it's to pass the hat and basically get some strategic partnerships going on.
Yeah, or just like have more, the safety of being in American markets. Like,
well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you invite JP Morgan Chase into your deal, and then suddenly, like, you can make phone calls to regulators.
Oh, they're raising 15 to 20 billion for 3% stake.
God damn. God damn. Man, isn't it amazing? Any of us could have thought of Tether at any time. There was nothing unique about that idea.
The young kid did.
I know. Good for him.
Yeah, it's through, I think Cantor is acting as their lead advisor, which I'm like 1 degree away removed from the kids running Cantor who went to Stanford, and I'm friends with some guys who are in their frat. Apparently they're like pretty dumb, word on the street, but
well, the rest of the people at Cantor are not dumb. So yeah. I'm sure your frat bros are though.
Yeah. The Letniks.
The Letniks of the world are not dumb.
That's what losers say to make themselves feel better. Oh yeah, they're dumb.
They're dumb.
They're only raising $500 billion
It's Andrew's right. That is like a
Yeah,
that is a thing.
I haven't met him, but yeah, I don't know. In some circles, yes. In some circles, it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. At Stanford, there's like kind of smart kids, and then kids who got in for other reasons, whether it be like parents or sports or affirmative action or whatever.
Yeah, it's the same in every school.
Yeah. And I don't know. I haven't met the Letnicks. Maybe they're actually really smart.
Howard Lutnick seems pretty intelligent.
You have to be smart enough. Okay, you don't have to be the smartest. Remember that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, you gotta put in the work, and then your network, your connection.
Andrew's right. It's just about being smart enough, and then having like grit, determination, social charm, balls, courage, risk tolerance. Yeah.
Politics sometimes on your side.
The intangible. If you asked me, like, you could have your son be 150 IQ, or you could have him be 115 IQ with all these intangibles, I would obviously take all the intangibles.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, good point.
Now, if you're 150 IQ and you have all the intangibles, then you run the world. Yeah. Just being good with relationships is worth infinity dollars. You know? Which is like, it's the simplest shit in the world. It really is just treating people like they matter, remembering their name, caring about what they think or what's important to them. Like, if you can just do those things, you can be a billionaire. It's shockingly rare how few people do those things. Hey, Steve, how's your wife? Are you guys still living over in Belmont? Did you get that new house? That's worth $1 bajillion. Yeah?
Asking about the kid by name.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Is your daughter still over at Lark Hill? That's a great school. You know? That's worth $1 bajillion. Like, seriously.
you know, that's a 100-year-old book from Carnegie. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's true. I still tell people to read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and almost nobody ever does. Warren Buffett said it was the best thing he ever did, was take Dale Carnegie's course. And that's Warren Buffett, you know? I think that's one of the things that has happened, like, too, with our, like, in elite society, is that, like, we've lost actually a lot of this, you know, like, cotillion-esque, like, pomp and circumstance, like, finishing school, like, sort of, like, just manners, you know? We've lost, like, the basics of civility. And man, if you just focused on the basics of civility, you would just like print money. I saw this tweet a long time ago. I really agreed with it. It said, you want the shortcut? There is no shortcut. Like, fucking do everything correct. Treat everyone with respect. Show up early. Be on time. Do the right things, care about your customers, care about your employees, care about your business partners, still make time for your wife and your family, and do this and do that, and your friendships. It's just about doing a million things correctly. That's the secret. But all the things are easy. They're simple. That's the thing. They're all simple things. But if you do them consistently, like, there's like a Tony Dungy quote where he says, "Winners don't do extraordinary things. They just do ordinary things so fast and so often and with such precision that it becomes extraordinary. But they're all just ordinary things. You don't win a football game by flipping over the defender to catch the football in the end zone. You know, you win a football game by consistently blocking, like consistently, you know, making the defense fear the run. Just basic shit. Same is true in life and business. But you know, common sense isn't common. Andrew, did you see that Elon Musk has been tweeting scripture since?
Yeah, remember I tweeted you? I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it very much affected him.
Yeah.
Because he realized it could have been him. You know? That they would say this sort of same horrible stuff about him if somebody killed him.
Yeah. Well, I hope he attends church. Something.
It would be interesting if he does. The Elon Christian arc would be fascinating.
Ooh, I have an idea. I'm gonna text the minister and tell him, ping Rogan. Here's what Elon's been tweeting. Ping Rogan, tell him to call him, invite him to church.
Does the pastor know Rogan? Is Rogan the one who's been going?
Yeah, he sends this.
Yeah, totally.
Alright, I need those tweets.
Getting Elon to come to church would be amazing.
Yeah. Send me where's this tweet about the scripture thing? Where is it? Do you have it in front of you by any chance?
I'll have to find it. Oh, hold on, I gotta call somebody back.
Man, he tweets so much, I can't find it.
Jimmy's doing a space with Gary Cardone.